Good morning, and welcome to Meditation for Wisdom and Democracy. Um, we are here together to spend a little time cultivating some mindfulness to help us participate in a healthy way in our world and in the choices that lie before us. And I think one of the biggest stressors of this time is that has to do with our relationship with our thinking mind. So our thinking mind is a gift. We could talk about it scientifically. What actually is it? And there's all kinds of people that have researched, how human language actually works inside of our consciousness, inside of our brain, without getting super complicated about it. What we know from a mental health perspective is that, our ability to think is great and not so great. Or it's, you could say your thinking mind is not your friend and it's not your enemy. It's a tool, and the challenge is to have that tool be at your service, not the other way around, not to be at the service of your own thoughts. Because our tendency is that we're vulnerable to propaganda and indoctrination. And, we can even kind of propagandize ourselves, and life can do that to us. So, as way back in the 1970s, in the advent of cognitive behavioral therapy, probably even in the 60s, we started to understand that, how people feel is really a function of their inner thought process. And their inner thought process could be, as the words that were used at that time were irrationally negative, irrationally restrictive, self-defeating. So, people are vulnerable to things like, I make a mistake and my mind comments, I'll never get it right. And our thought process is kind of like that. It's very vulnerable to like what you would call like sound bites, little brief statements that have high emotional impact. And it's not a mistake that's how, campaigns are run. That's how marketing is run. That's how advertising works, is if you can get a soundbite of a slogan into people's minds, that sounds good, but that maybe has its own kind of purpose. You can create propaganda, and you can even believe, and you can trust that if you repeat a lie often enough and with enough kind of convincing power, it will become people's truth and it will become internalized. So this is how highly irrational belief systems about humans take root and really become people's truth. Things like racism, sexism, it could be thousands and thousands of weird little ideas like boys don't cry. Boys don't cry. That take root in people's consciousness. Girls don't do good math. And these kind of thought processes that are handed on and shared and spread around. Talk about something going viral or being like a virus in your consciousness. And each one of us have our own personal set of these, and then our society can easily be infected by things that sound kind of true. Just little thoughts. Even the names and nicknames we give ourselves, the Proud Boys. That sounds good. Yeah, you should be proud. So I am not meaning to start out in a really negative place this morning, except to say we all feel the burden of our thinking minds. What do we do with it? How do we live with this? How do we live with this tendency to kind of take things in, carry them around, repeat them to ourselves? Um, well, that's where our mindfulness practice comes in. So, what can a mindfulness practice do for that? The first thing it can do is to help us experience thoughts in a different way. And you could simply call it experiencing thoughts as events rather than experiencing thoughts as real, substantial things. And it's kind of a subtle difference, but put it this way, a thought like, I'll never get it right, if it's really impactful in a moment and it's right there when I made a mistake, it comes up and it just feels like my truth and it takes a hold of my consciousness. And then it's kind of hard to know what's real. And people cling to the thing that seems the most true at the moment. So that could easily seem the most true. And if it's backed up by a lot of experiential power, like maybe I made one big mistake that I've never gotten over. And this little mistake kind of joins with that unconsciously. And then I'm like, I'll never get it right. That's where I live. And that's what becomes true to me. So mindfulness says, what if we could really experience our thoughts in a new way? Which is to experience thoughts as events that happen spontaneously and that are generated by the mind. And if you really slow down and pay attention, which is mindfulness, then you will notice, oh wow, there's just this ever flowing stream of thoughts. Now, in the meditations we've done so far, we may be like, kind of each time we catch ourselves going into our thoughts, we come back to our breath, we come back to our breath. There's another way to be with that, which is like, okay, let me get grounded in my body and my breath, wake up that aware self, wake up that observing self, and then let me on purpose pay attention to thoughts. And one of the best ways to do that is to kind of first pay attention to sounds. So even as you hear my voice right now, it's a system of sounds that somehow means something to the language center, but they're actually just random sounds. If I was speaking in a different language, or if I was speaking gibberish, like there's like, you can't make sense of it. It's just a bunch of sounds. So if I listen to my environment, if I use my ears and notice sounds as events that just occur and then disappear, boop-a-doop-boop. Things are happening in the world of sound. My ears are like microphones, just receiving whatever is given. And then I turn towards my thoughts. I'll notice that they have the same quality. They're just random events that are occurring. And because they occur inside of me, they seem real. But we all know it's very possible for your thoughts to argue with each other. So which side is correct? It's just, it's not a reliable place to be. So what we could practice is not to get rid of thought. That we can't do that unless we have brain surgery and make it go away. But to actually just have a little bit of space and a little bit of disidentification with my own thoughts. So, that sounds fancy, but it really just means I am not my thoughts. I'm the one watching my thoughts. I'm the one deciding how to use my thoughts. Yeah, I'm the one holding my thoughts. And we could even say, I'm not really even saying, are they true, but are they helpful in terms of living out my values, showing up in the world? Is this thought help? So if I think of the thought, I'll never get it right, how does that help? It's actually that's part of the thinking mind that's just like almost like throwing a stick in my spokes, you know? It's like, okay, well, hmm, there's that thought. And so the part of our practice might be if we're the observer of thoughts, and if we become aware that we're not even purposely thinking them, they're just kind of happening, then that could help us on our journey to being, a person who is not the servant of their own thoughts and prejudices, but who is the master and decides what is helpful. And this is a level of consciousness and awareness and kind of self responsibility that, if you really pay attention, is kind of rare. We all tend to believe more of what we already believe. That's real dangerous. So I hope you're with me. I hope this makes some sense. It's a little bit of a complex area, and but it's really not that complex. It's like, okay, my thinking mind is not me. I'm not my thoughts. I'm the one in here observing all of that. And here's an interesting fact. So I have a Google feed for research on mindfulness. So I get these emails daily, and I read some of them. I don't read every one, but they're interesting stuff. Research that's being done. One was examining whether or not people who meditate mindfulness practice worry less. And what they found was that what this piece of research found was that actually mindfulness practitioners don't necessarily worry less, maybe a little bit, but what's more true is that they know how to use their worry effectively. Wow. So the worrying mind is actually, it's not our friend, it's not our enemy, it's a tool. It's something that could be used if it just doesn't overtake you, it just doesn't become you. So the ability to say, oh, wow, lots of worries coming up, or I can see all my worries passing me by. I can see worries being generated inside. I can see that part of me is really active, and being able to be with it might actually put me in a place of being able to use that energy somehow. So if we think of our thinking mind and all the language that's in there as a tool for our use, then who am I? Well, I'm definitely more than the tool. I'm more than my thoughts. And if I have that kind of relationship with my own thoughts, I can't be so easily manipulated by slogans and half-baked truths or lies that are repeated in a friendly way. So this is real personal power and freedom, which is what democracy is about. It's a freedom to choose. And freedom can be stolen from us in many ways. It can be taken from us by force, or it can be taken by convincing, propaganda, lies. So let's meditate today. I apologize this went on so long, but the meditation I'd like to do is a meditation on sound and thought. We're just going to go through the steps, and I hope I left enough time for everybody to enjoy that. Okay, let's see here. All right, got to get set up. All right, here we go. So in this meditation, we're going to get grounded in our body and our breath. And then we're going to turn the awareness that we cultivate towards our thoughts, towards sound first, and then our thoughts. So beginning, as we have many times, letting yourself feel your body, finding the posture that you wish for yourself, becoming aware of your feet on the floor, and where you connect to what you're sitting on. And if you're lying down, becoming aware of the ground beneath you and that contact, a sense of the ground beneath you. And even becoming aware of the choice to be present to this moment, one moment at a time. And then spending a few moments just greeting yourself with awareness in a big way, open, wide awareness. Taking in your body, the energy that you feel there, your feelings, your thoughts. It's kind of like saying to yourself, "Hi, how are you doing?" And then really listening, opening up. And now that you're in touch with yourself and aware of this moment, seeing if it's possible to bring your awareness to your breath and your belly, mostly your belly, a little bit in your chest. And just notice how the belly expands on the in-breath and contracts on the out-breath. And just for a minute or so, holding your awareness in that experience. Each breath in and out. And then opening that up, letting your awareness expand to take in your whole body. And noticing how you can feel that each breath is filling your whole body and is completely emptying out of your whole body. So each breath in is filling your head, neck, shoulders and arms, the whole of your torso, your pelvis, your legs, all the way down to your feet and your toes. And in this way, becoming aware of the whole body breathing. And staying with that for a little bit of silence. And you know what to do if you get distracted, just come back. Breathing in acceptance of this moment. And breathing out, letting go and letting things be just as they are. And then at a certain point, letting go of that awareness, just letting it dissolve and opening up your ears. Your ears, like microphones, passively receiving sound events all around you. Sounds that are near, sounds that are far, sounds in the foreground, sounds in the background. And seeing if it's possible to observe sounds as events that appear and occur and then disappear. And seeing if it's possible to actually continue to go towards the actual experience of the sound without needing a label for it. If there is a label there, let that fade and let the sound itself come forward in your awareness. allowing yourself to start over if you lose your focus. Each sound, an event that appears and disappears in your awareness. And then letting go of attention to sound. Just gently letting that go, releasing that, and bringing the same awareness to thoughts. And as you do this, your thoughts may disappear completely, or they might continue on. Seeing if it's possible for you to notice in this moment how thoughts occur and then disappear, followed by another thought. And seeing if it's possible for you to notice these thoughts as events occurring in your experience. Noticing how the thinking mind goes on all on its own. And if you find this really difficult, it's okay. Even notice that. And return to your body and breath if you wish. Thoughts are events spontaneously occurring in my awareness. And now returning to body and breath, letting go of the tension on thoughts, and just coming back to yourself in your body and in your breath, feeling a sense of the ground beneath you. And what you may notice is kind of a lingering effect possible, not trying to make this happen, but you may notice, kind of something inside that feels freer and not my thoughts. And each breath taking you deeper and deeper into connection with yourself. So I would suggest as a supplement to this, um, you can carry this into your daily life. But every once in a while, like you can use different imagery, but you could imagine that your thoughts are a stream that are just always flowing. And it's possible to sit on the bank and observe them going by. And we'll be adding to this. This is our theme for the week. It's kind of a difficult theme for some people. This particular aspect of meditation can become kind of sticky and difficult, but hang in there with it. The value is immense. If you can cultivate an experience that is a little separate, distinct from your thinking mind, there's a lot of empowerment and fulfillment that can come from that. So anyway, thank you. And if you have any comments or questions, shoot them to me. If you want to add anything to this conversation, you can do that in the comments. And again, if you know anyone who might benefit from this, don't forget these meditations are available after the live event, forever. You can go back to them or you can share them with friends. I'm really glad to be doing this just because it's basically good for me, and I hope it helps a little bit during a lot of transitional stuff going on in our world. Thank you so much. Bye.